everyone, Jenn here, and I am so excited. We have another Create with Us, which are our free mini classes, fast approaching. If you have not joined us before, like I mentioned, these are free mini classes that we will host right here on lawnfawn's YouTube channel. Our next one is March 5th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. You can either join us live or catch the replay. All of the details, including a downloadable handout, are over on lawnfawn's website. We have a link in the caption for you. This is your homework video. So I'm going to be walking you through putting together our card kits for the 2 cards that we're going to be creating. Having that downloadable handout is super helpful, as well as following me along. If you have any questions while you're working on your homework or about the class, you of course can reach out to lawnfawn, but also feel free to reach out to me, Jenn. My email is creative-chick@shirkus.com. Since I am the one that designed the class, I'm happy to answer any questions for you. We are going to do this video in real time. I don't know about you guys, but I did not like homework when I was in school. So I figure if we do this in real time, where we're actually prepping these kits together, then it will feel like a little bit more fun and a little bit more creative time together versus homework. All right, so let's go ahead and flip the camera. I'll share which cards we're going to be creating and we'll get started. All right, so these are the 2 cards that we're going to be creating on March 5th, 2026 at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, join us live or catch us on replay, whatever works into your schedule. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I love summer. I live in Massachusetts on Cape Cod, so we're in the throes of winter right now, and creating spring cards are what gives me hope that mermaid season is coming. So I'm very excited to create these 2 spring inspired cards with you guys. All right, so to get started, we are going to go ahead and stamp out our images. But let me just go over a few of the supplies with you guys first. So we're going to be using the new I Like Big Butterflies, as well as a mole lot of flowers. Now, we will always encourage you to shop your stash. Maybe find a different critter if you don't have this set, or maybe find some other flying things if you don't have this set. So shop your stash, have fun with it. These are your cards. Nobody's going to compare your cards to my cards. We just want you guys to create with your lawn fawn goodies. That's our #1 goal. Create and have fun, right? And one thing I like to do in all of my classes, whether it be these free Create With Us classes or the affordable online classes I offer over on my website, is I do often bring in supplies that we have used before. So this is the tree branches backdrop portrait die, and we actually used this last spring, and so we are going to use this again. So dust that off. Not for prep today, but we're going to be using the Lawn Fawn Cloudy stencil. I honestly can't even tell you how many times I've used this stencil in Create With Us classes and my classes. It's such a versatile stencil to have, and I use it frequently. I almost want to say I use it like once a week. Lawn Fawn has all kinds of grassy borders, and this is the Meadow Borders die. So any grassy border will work, whichever is your favorite. I'm going to be using the Meadow one. I'm also going to be die cutting a stitched sentiment banner. So if you guys have those. And I think that's it for stamps, dies, and stencils. So let's, before we get into talking about pattern papers, like I said, let's go ahead and start to stamp our images. So what I'm going to do is grab my stamping platform. And this is 80-pound white cardstock. This is the lawnfawn cardstock that I like to use when I am coloring with my alcohol-based markers. So, and I cut this to fit into my mini die cut machine. So when I am just stamping smaller images to die cut, this is just faster and easier for the prep. All right, so I'm going to grab the I Like Big Butterflies stamp set, and we are going to stamp several of these butterflies. I'm going to start by grabbing this butterfly up here in the upper left corner. And then I am going to grab this one in the upper right corner. And then I am going to grab this one in the lower left corner. We're also going to use the speech bubble, and we're also going to use all of these butterfly trails. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of grab those. We're going to place them once we figure out spacing in just a minute. Okay. And then from a mole lot of flowers, I am going to grab that really cute mole with the wheelbarrow. And then I'm also going to fill my wheelbarrow with some flowers. So I'm going to grab that image of soil and flowers. Now is when I'm just going to kind of see how much of this I can fit on here. And I do think I'll be able to fit all of these. We just want to make sure we leave ourselves some room for die cutting. I'm going to scooch the bigger ones up. There we go. All right. And I am going to stamp these with my Lawnfawn Jet Black ink pad. It is alcohol marker friendly, which is what I'm going to be using. It also works with watercoloring and colored pencils. It's a great all-around black ink pad. Now, full disclosure, I need to re-ink my Lawnfawn Jet Black. I am not going to admit how long I've been saying that to myself, but I will probably want to stamp these a couple times because of that reason specifically. That's what's nice about having a stamping platform is you can ink them up and stamp them multiple times. Great. All right, so now there's a couple images that we actually need 2 of these images to create our 2 cards. The first one I know is this speech bubble. And then 2 of the butterflies, and it's actually the butterflies that aren't facing forward. So this guy in the middle here, he's flying off to the right, and this guy here is flying off to the left. The rest of these images we don't need anymore for this class. So I'm just adding these back so we don't lose them. All right. So we're going to go ahead and ink these guys up and stamp them. Okay, so now once I get these stamps put away, we are going to die cut them. So when we get into die cutting with the coordinating dies, I like to use Best Ever Craft Tape, which is a low tack tape to hold my dies in place. And it comes on a roll like this, and I tear it off into little pieces. I do use these pieces over and over and over and over and over and over again, which is what I like about this tape, is you get a lot of use out of it. And I just kind of keep the little pieces on my die cut machine until I need them for instances like this. So I'm going to go ahead and add a die on all of these guys. So for the butterfly trails, if you find these tricky to stamp and then die cut, meaning it's tricky for you to line the die up because it is fairly intricate, and to kind of get those little dotted lines in that die window. A suggestion is you could die cut first and then stamp on them. So die cut all of your butterfly trail shapes and then use that backer sheet that the shapes came out of as a template to then stamp your die cut pieces. This might sound confusing, but I do this all the time, especially for Quinn's ABCs, since those dies are solid and you can't see through them. So it's the easiest way to get those things lined up. And it's a trick that I've been using for years when prepping kits for classes that I teach, because it's a lot faster when you're doing, oh my gosh, I keep moving this one. It's a lot faster when you're doing multiples. So maybe for this class, you're going to make multiples of these cards. So I will make sure we link. I have a very rough, but it gets the point across video where I show how I do this with Quinn's ABCs, and we will link that video in the caption of this homework video, and maybe you'll find that useful. I really should re-film it, but it was something I had quickly made for those that were taking a class with me many years ago, and I still now just refer people to that video because it's good enough. It makes sense and it gets the point across. So keep that in mind. Check that out. Let me know your thoughts. But so, all right, we're almost there. We almost got everything taped up. You'll have to let me know in the caption. I keep saying in the caption. You'll have to let me know in the comments if you're finding these homework videos helpful. And let me know if you plan on joining Kelly Marie and I live, or if you're going to catch us on replay. Both work. Both are fine. But I'm just curious. Again, we're crafting together. We're chatting. We're catching up, right? So I'm just putting this through my mini die cut machine. Again, I love having a little machine. I have a big one too, which I'll use soon, but I love having the little one to do my little images. So another trick for you guys, when you are die cutting multiples of the same images, what I do to kind of just save a smidge of time is, as I take the die off of an image that I know I'm going to cut again, I immediately go over and line it up and put that tape down. So I'm not placing the die down. I'm not trying to find it later. I'm just kind of immediately putting it to use on those second images. Again, just little things like that will save you some time, and maybe, if we save time on our prep, we get more time to do the fun stuff, right? So the rest of these images, we're just going to kind of pile together for now. In the downloadable handout, there is, you know, a list and a picture of what you need per card. So you guys can refer to that and make sure you have everything that you need. I try to make that as clear as I can. I think this little mole with the wheelbarrow is just so cute, but I also think we've used a lot of other really cute springtime critters in the past that would be super cute on the card as well. So I can't wait to see what you guys create. We always love to see what you're creating, and especially as teaching the class, I always love to see what you guys come up with. So after class, again, whether you do it with us live or on replay, make sure you share your cards with us. Tag lawnfawn. You can tag me, Jenn Shirkus. We absolutely love to see them. So, all right, die cutting these last few little images. And again, I'm just going to kind of push these images aside for now. I'll talk to you in a little bit what we're going to do with those. Okay. All right. So next what we're going to do is start to work on our backgrounds and the bits that we need for our backgrounds. So we're going to be using that tree branches backdrop die, the portrait one, which again is the same one we used last spring. And it comes with the large leaves and the small leaves. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut them out of some pattern papers. So let me just kind of explain the pattern papers to you guys. So lawnfawn carries 12 by 12 pattern papers in their shop. And the 12 by 12 pattern papers, they actually come in, oh gosh, my brain just lost it. I think it's 10 sheets per pack. It's 10 or 12 sheets per pack. I'm totally forgetting it and I apologize, but 10 sheets, 10 or 12 sheets per pack of 12 by 12. And so they carry this really cute knock on wood grain. It comes in dark brown, which is what we're using, the armoire. And it also comes in light brown. And something like this, where it's like a pattern that you could use on so many different cards, so many different occasions and themes. I don't think it's the end of the world to have that many sheets in your studio. It has a smaller wood grain print and a larger wood grain print. And then because I teach a lot of classes, I typically use the 12 by 12 patterns from lawnfawn because I can get 4 card fronts out of a sheet. And, you know, it just makes more sense economically for me to do that. So this is the new Blissful Blossoms that just came out with the release. We are going to use the purple floral and the yellow floral. But if you want to use the Blissful Blossoms petite paper pack, the 6x6, that would work as well. And then the last thing for pattern papers that we're going to use is some spiffy speckles. Now, I love spiffy speckles and watercolor wishes. I think that all the colors you should have in your stash at all the times because they're just really great for scene building and for making cards. But again, you can use 12 by 12 or 6x6. We're going to use the green side, not the white and green side. But again, I am going to use 12 by 12. So what I've done is I have cut down most of these papers and got them ready, but I just thought I would show you how I do that with the Spiffy Speckles paper. If you don't have a lot of space in your crafty space to store 12 by 12 pieces, and maybe if you don't scrapbook, you do just cards, I would recommend if you buy a pack of this to just immediately cut it into 6 by 6 panels, and then that will be much easier to store. So I'm going to go ahead and just bring it right over to 6. And then my trimmer can go through 2 of these pattern pieces at once. So just stacking them up, bringing it over to 6. And now we have 4 6 by 6 panels. And again, this is a little bit easier to store. You can even store them with your 6 by 6 paper pads. However it is you do that. Okay, before we use our Spiffy Speckles, let's get back to our backgrounds. So we need 2 of the wood grain pieces of paper, and I am going to be using the smaller print of the wood grain, not the larger print. And then, like I mentioned, I'm going to be using the yellow floral and the purple floral. And we are essentially going to die cut all 4 of these with this backdrop die. So I'm going to go ahead and just lay this down, and I tend to tuck it more towards the left side. So maybe I will use this piece for something else down the road. Plus, you know, we've got the other side. Who knows? Who knows? And then off camera, just to the right here, I have my large die cut machine. It's a Spellbinders Platinum 6. And so I am going to go ahead and just die cut this backdrop. Now, when I'm die cutting the backdrop dies, because they are a little bit more intricate, I run it forward through my die cut machine, and then I run it back through my die cut machine again. I don't move the die, I don't take it out. I'm just running it through twice. Lawnfawn also has a metal shim that you could purchase, which is really helpful with some of the intricate dies. And then also putting your die at more of an angle, so kind of having it in there like a little bit of a diagonal angle will also help as well. So I'm going to first just kind of punch out the center part. And if the pattern paper is not lifting up, I don't want to rip it. So what I'll do is I'll use my Lawnfawn pickup pokey tool and just kind of press through a few of these holes. And then I just kind of take that and slide it in underneath. And that's just enough usually to kind of get it started. It's that really cute stitching that sometimes wants to hold on to our pattern papers forever, right? And so I'm going to toss this piece here. You can keep it, toss it, whatever you would like. And now I'm going to cut out my yellow floral backdrop. I'm just putting a piece of that Best Ever craft tape down. I don't often do that when I'm doing backdrops, but since I am filming, I don't want my die to shift and then I have to, you know, explain it to you and waste another piece of paper. So it's just a good habit to get into, but it's not something that I necessarily do all the time. I'm trying to set a good example, right? All right. Again, just gently peeling that Best Ever craft tape off, and then I'll just punch out the center piece. I'm going to go ahead and toss that and just use this tool to get this started. All right. And there we go. So now we're going to go ahead and cut the wood grain. So remember, we're using that smaller print. See how the wood grain is kind of shrunken in pattern size versus this side that is larger. So we're going to use that smaller print. I just think it translates better on the branches, the size that the branches are. I'm going to go ahead and die cut. Let me peel that tape off. And every paper is going to react differently to the dye. So lawnfawn pattern paper, I believe, if I remember correctly, is 65-pound paper, which is a really nice weight for pattern paper. But that's also a little bit why this is clinging into the dye, because it is a little bit of a thinner paper, not in a bad way, but that's just how pattern paper is. But if we were die cutting this out of cardstock, we might not notice it sticking as much. Just depends what paper you're using, what weight it is. And there we go. We got one more to do. Again, making sure I'm doing it on the small pattern side. And we'll go ahead and die cut it. All right. It's kind of satisfying to get this out and hear all that stitching. I love the stitching. It's so pretty. All right, so we're gonna set this die aside. We still have to do our leaves, but I want to die cut our grass first, mainly because that's going to give us a piece of this left over to cut some of our leaves. It'll all make sense as we get going. So we have a 6x6 piece of the Spiffy Speckles pesto. And what I'm going to do is actually trim this so that it's the width of our card, which is 4 1/4. And then we want our grass to be 2 1/4 high. So I'm going to turn this and go to 2 1/4. Okay. So then I'm going to go ahead and take my grassy border. Again, any of lawnfawn's grassy borders will work and look super cute. And I'm going to line it up so that the die goes right to the top of my pattern paper. So I definitely want to use some tape to hold this in place so it won't move. And I also like to flip it over and make sure that there's no overlap. And remember, we're working on the green side, not the white with green speckle side. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and die cut this. I could do it in my small die cut machine, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it right over here on my big machine. All right. So there we go. We've got our grassy border. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and just set that aside. So now we can go ahead and cut our leaves. So the die comes with a bunch of big leaves and little leaves. We want both, and we actually want quite a bit for both of our cards. So eventually, or in the end, we want to have 6 sets of big leaves and 4 sets of small leaves. Now for the small leaves, I am going to use some Noble Fir lawnfawn cardstock. And then for the big leaves, I am going to use this piece of the pesto spiffy speckles. So I'm going to just cut myself a smidge of this Noble Fir cardstock that is the width of these small leaves. Just like that. And this is already a nice width for the big leaves, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and take a piece of Best Ever Craft Tape to hold these in place. And then we are going to die cut these on our smaller die cut machine. I just think it's so much faster, especially when we are doing a lot of little die cutting. So you can see how I kind of put them both on my plate. And I'm just going to go one way and then the opposite way. Now for these, we're going to just give ourselves a pile of leaves. We're not going to figure out how many leaves we need for each card right now. We'll figure that out in class, and I will walk you through all of that, so don't worry about it. I would just keep all of our leaves together for now and just kind of go with that. And honestly, like I said, we need 6 big, 4 small. I'm probably going to cut 7 big, 5 small. So I have some extra leaves. So during class, if I accidentally lose one, I won't have to die cut later. And then if I don't end up needing them, I can always keep them in a small bag in with this die. So in the future, if I kind of want to make a card quickly, I'll already have some leaves cut out, right? So we'll go ahead and move this down. And I moved that one down. And we'll go ahead and die cut. Now, whenever I'm doing something like this on my own, not filming for you guys, I'm going to run that through one more time just because the cardstock one is, there we go. I tend to lose count of what I've done because I'm typically listening to audiobooks or watching like a true crime documentary. Well, not really watching, but listening when I'm here working in my studio. So what's nice is we can always go back and count how many bunches we've done looking at our scrap of cardstock, right? And then we'll be good to go. These little leaves, I'm going to actually I'm going to turn it in my machine. My plates are very loved, as you guys can see. And lawnfawn cardstock is a really nice heavyweight cardstock. I think it's 100 pound, 110 pound. And anyways, the combination of everything, I'm just needing to guide my scissors around. So we'll hopefully fix it for the next run. There we go. Pattern paper ones pop out real easy because it's a lighter weight cardstock. Just trying to keep those all together so we don't lose any. So what I think I'm going to do this time is I'm going to trim this. And let's maybe put it this way. Trim this off. Just trying to save time by being able to die cut both at once. Of course, you don't have to do that. But we'll go one way, back. I'm just going to go over that cardstock one again. See how that does. Punch out our pattern paper, leaves. Sometimes dropping it on your table will punch them out, and sometimes they just want to hang out longer. There we go. So it looks like this is my fourth big leaf. Oh yeah, much better. That's what I have to do. It has to go sideways, not horizontal. So we'll do that again. Just going to trim my cardstock. That way I can put it on here like that. We've got that. There we go. What I really need to do is start a new plate. All right, that was our fourth time. So I'm going to do one more of these small guys. We only need 4, but I'm going to do one extra just to be safe. Oops. And we need 6 of the big, so we've got a couple more of these guys to go. Two, three, four, five. See, I have such a hard time keeping track. I easily get distracted. I'll poke those guys out in a minute. Let's get the rest of these big leaves cut. So that's 6. And then I am going to just do one extra of this as well. Just think it doesn't hurt. Especially if you're taking the time to prep. I hate like having to go back and, oh, I just need 2 more leaves, or, you know, you lose a leaf on your desk while you're crafting. And I'm sure I'm not alone where my craft desk looks a disaster after making one card. So I rather just cut some extras now, and then I don't have to worry about doing it later, especially since I'll be live with all of you guys. You don't need to watch me cut more leaves. So it's always good to have some extra. So get all of these punched out. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, looks like I did 7. 3. Oh, that's what I wanted to do. Right, right. One more, Jen. Jeez Louise. So again, the real number you need is 6 big, 4 small. I did 7 big, 5 small, just to be safe. And I'm going to go ahead and put these little leaves away so I don't lose them. And what I'm going to do is take all of these little leaves, and I just have these clear bags that I kind of keep my kits and my cards in. I'm just going to grab all of these little leaves and put them in a clear bag. We will divvy up what we need per card in class, so don't worry about that. And that way it'll keep them all contained, okay? Now, the other thing we need to do is we need some white backgrounds that we are going to ink blend on. I like to use Distress White Heavy Stock for my ink blending. It's a really nice 130-pound smooth, bright white cardstock. But whatever your favorite white cardstock is for ink blending. So this is 8.5 by 11, and we need 2 A2 panels. So 4.25 by 5.5. So this is 11 inches. So I'm going to cut it down at 5.5. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn this and do 4.25 because this is 8.5. Okay. And that gives us our 2 white pieces. So now I am going to go ahead and start to just make my 2 separate kits. So we'll have a white background in each kit, right? We're going to have a wood grain tree branch backdrop in each kit. And then we'll have yellow floral in one and a purple floral in the other, okay? And then our grassy border, that is going to go in our purple floral. And as far as our stamped images, we'll talk about those in a minute, but we can put our butterfly trails in these bags because we won't need those till later in class. So for the yellow floral kit, I'm going to take the heart butterfly trail, and I'm going to call this the curlicue butterfly trail. So both of those trails can go into the yellow pattern paper kit. And then we've got the loop-de-loo, and somewhere in here I have like the more simple butterfly trail. Those 2 right there. And those will go into the purple floral kit, okay? So now I'm going to go ahead and put these into clear bags. This is just kind of how I keep my kits organized. And then after the cards are made, I store my cards in these clear bags until I send them to somebody. Kind of keeps them protected. And then I end up reusing the clear bags. So right now I have a lot that I just cleared out from sending out my holiday cards. Okay, so we've got those 2 there. I'm going to go ahead and take these leaves, and I'll just kind of fold this over and add it to one of the kits. It does not matter which one, but just to kind of contain them even more, the leaves. Okay. Oh, before we do what we're going to do with these, I forgot we need to die cut ourselves a sentiment banner. So I die cut the stitched sentiment banner. And this one is 4.5 by 3/4. And we just need this out of white cardstock. So I'm just using that same Lawn Fawn 80-pound white cardstock that I stamped my images on. This would fit through my mini die cut machine, but I'm just going to go ahead and throw it through my larger machine. Grab my tool. There we go. I always try to put my dies away right away so I don't lose them. But here's my stitched sentiment banner, and this one is going to go into that yellow floral card kit with the heart loopy trail. Okay. All right, so back to our stamped images. Since we already have these die cut, in order to make it a bit easier to hold on to them when we're coloring, what I like to do is just take a piece of Best Ever craft tape and I add it to my skin to take some of that sticky off. Do your skin, not your clothes, because the oils on your skin is what works best. And then I'm going to just line up my images on here, and I'm going to kind of put like ones together. So when we get to coloring together in class, it'll be a little bit easier. So the two that are identical will be side by side, the two butterflies. Do the other two identical ones. Our front-facing one. Then we have our flowers. And for the speech bubbles, looking at how I have them positioned on the card, where the carrot is facing the right, I am going to do the same thing. And I don't need a lot of space for these. We're just going to add a little colorful shadow to them. So I'm going to stick them at the end there. And then this guy, the mole with the wheelbarrow, I personally feel he's big enough for me to hold on to him as I'm coloring. What's nice about having images on a tape is as we go to color these little flowers, we have this big piece to hold on to instead of just a teeny piece. So that's why I like to kind of put those in like that. So normally I will tuck these away in with the coloring guides that I provide in your handout. I have them on A2 panels. I have not made those yet, so I'm going to just grab myself one more clear bag. You could definitely just add these to one of your kit bags, but I just kind of fold those images and tuck them into a clear bag. And then they are good to go. All right. So just a couple other things I thought I would mention while I have you and before I let you go. In that downloadable handout, I do share a swatch of markers I'm going to be using during class. So even though the handout has the coloring guides, you do not need to color ahead of time. We'll do that during the free class. But I share the swatches. I am going to be using Copic markers, but I share the swatches because maybe you are also going to use Copics, but you don't have the exact colors. You could find similar colors. Maybe you're going to use colored pencils. You could find similar colors in your colored pencils. Starting in August 2025, I also have started to share a Copic Olo comparison chart. So if you're going to be coloring with Olos, which are also alcohol-based markers, I try to find similar colors to what I'm using and do a comparison chart for you. And then last but not least, we are going to use a couple inks during class. Again, I mentioned we're going to be ink blending. So I'm going to be using lawnfawn inks. I'm going to be using butter, which is a really nice soft yellow, and fresh lavender, which is a really nice soft purple. And so I swatch them out like this for you so you can shop your stash and pull from whatever inks you are going to use. So hopefully that wasn't too painful. We did homework together. It's more fun that way. As I said at the beginning, if you have any questions about the class or about the homework, since I designed the class, you can go right ahead and reach out to me. My email's here on the screen, creative-chick@shirkus.com. I'm happy to answer any questions. I hope you left some comments in the bottom of this video here. Let me know. Are you going to be with us live or on replay? Maybe let me know what substitutions you're going to be using. Maybe you're not going to use the mole with the wheelbarrow. Maybe you're going to throw in another lawn fawn critter. We know there's lots to choose from. Either way, thank you guys so much for joining me for this homework video. We can't wait to see you on March 5th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be live right here on Lawnfawn's YouTube channel. There's no need to sign up. You just show up. And if you can't join us live, you can catch us on the replay. It'll be here as well. Have a fabulous day, and I'll see you all soon. Bye, guys.